Hey everyone, I'm gonna go ahead and start with my Goblet of Fire review. Um, so I have the negatives first as usual. They're not a lot for this one. Goblet of Fire is one of my favorites. Um, so my biggest negative, the thing that annoyed me the most was the recap in the beginning, and I think I mentioned this also in Prisoner of Azkaban, but it's really bad in this book. And it's kind of tied to one of my biggest positives, actually. So, chapter one of this book is my second favorite chapter one, my second favorite opening of any of the Harry Potters. Like, it's so amazing. And it has really well done recap. So, it's not just spoon fed to you like you're a toddler, it's like very cleverly worked in. So, if she had just stopped there and that's where all the recap ended, it would have been brilliant and it would have been so well done and everyone would have been like, wow, she's really improved her writing. But then what she does is she ruins that in chapter two, because then in chapter two you're back with Harry and she's back to explaining really dumb things that you already know about. um so it's really frustrating, and one of the things she explains is even something she very cleverly hinted at in chapter one. So it's like you just removed all the cleverness of chapter one in your chapter two. So that really bothers me, and almost more in this book than any of the other books, because chapter one's so brilliant. And then she just undoes all of that with chapter two. Sorry, I have a cold, so I probably sound horrible. Um, Obviously, the Ron talking to Harry part is what everyone talks about with this book for the negatives. Yes, it's pretty bad. And so, yeah, it's pretty bad. But thankfully, it's pretty short, honestly. Like, it doesn't last very long, maybe like a chapter and a half. So it's not actually that bad. And I think I remember talking about this the last time I read this book, that like I remembered it being worse than it actually was. But it is bad. It's pretty bad. It's kind of annoys me actually, which is silly, that like Harry's like he realized he didn't need an apology. It's like, actually, Ron should apologize. He really should apologize. Um, and then just like the beginning not being at Hogwarts really drags. Um, so it takes like, I don't know how long, but because of the World Cup, it just takes a really long time to get to Hogwarts in this book specifically. It does for all of them, but this one is a little bit extra. And I know that also next book is a little extra. But there's also like a big plot hole in this book, and I don't know if people realize it. Um, and the plot hole is for the second task. So I love this book so much. I love the premise. I love the Triwars of Tournament. I love that it's secretly a conspiracy. It's so cool. I've kind of been into conspiracies recently. So it's kind of fun to like see all the background stuff. But the second task is actually a huge plot hole to this book. Is that there's very, very common spell to breathe underwater, which is the bubblehead charm. And Harry and Hermione and Ron do all this research and frantically looking through all the books in the library, and they don't come across this very commonly used spell that both Diggory and Fleur both use, and also is used very commonly in the next book. Just random students know this spell and are using it in Order of the Phoenix in book 5. Just next year. It's so common. And if this book is just like used, if this spell is used, it should be in book somewhere that Harry, Ron, and Hermione should have been able to find. So that's very frustrating. It's very obvious why, because the gillyweed is really cool. So they wanted him to use gillyweed. It's probably the only thing about it that I like the movies better. They give that honor to Neville, which is where Mad-Eye Moody planned for it to come from, was Neville. So I really liked that change in the movies. I think that's better than just letting Dobby be a deus ex machina. So I really enjoyed the movie in that respect. But this book is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. Don't think that all these negatives mean I don't like this one. This is one of my favorites. So, yeah, I really, those are just the negatives. Now I need to get to the positives because that's my deal is the positives. Um, so the positives, Fred and George antics are amazing. The ending is so funny where they like jinx Draco and his goons for like making fun of them. And Jenny starts to have a personality in this one, which is really fun. And I really like her a lot. She's like one of my favorites. Starting the next book. The first chapter is just brilliant writing. I wish that it hadn't been ruined in the second chapter, but it doesn't change the fact that the first chapter is brilliantly written. It has suspense. It has some mystery horror elements. It has really good recap without spoon feeding you. So the person whose perspective it is a muggle, and he hears these terms that but he doesn't know, which is like, I love those kinds of perspectives. Actually, Robert Jordan is really good at those kinds of perspectives where it's like the reader knows what's going on, but the person whose perspective it is doesn't. So really brilliant writing in chapter 1. Her writing for the ending is also very good. How she deals with trauma is one of the reasons I love the Harry Potter series, and everyone else seems to love the Harry Potter series. So as someone who's been through it a little bit, this book, it's just special to me because she writes very accurately how someone deals with trauma, especially a young person. So I really enjoy that. Just him expressing how he feels after Cedric's death, and how he wants to be with his friends, but he doesn't want to be with his friends, and he just like wants to silently watch them interact. I felt that a lot in life, so it's just great. It's one of the better twists of all of the books. It's so fun when you know the ending to see all the little hints, to watch Ludo Bagman being the red herring is a lot of fun. Ludo's really fun in this book. I forgot. I forgot how fun he was. It's a shame he's not in the movie. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just like seeing Barty in like little things. Specifically the chapter, I think it's called The Egg in the Eye. I'm not gonna look it up. The Egg in the Eye is such a fun chapter when he's stuck in the stair with the invisibility cloak over him, and Filch comes, and then Snape comes, and then Moody comes. It's just like, it's really great. That conversation is so much fun, especially when you actually know what's going on. So just love this book so much. Rita Skeeter and her horribleness is a lot of fun to read, and her comeuppance is kind of satisfying, even though it's a little psycho. Hermione gets a little psychopathic at the end if you actually think about it as an adult and not as a kid. As a kid, it's just like, oh, she was so horrible, she got what she deserved. But as an adult, you're like, so she's like imprisoning this woman like in this jar that's like so creepy. If you actually think about it, it's really twisted. But it's also satisfying. So yeah, I just really enjoyed reading this book. I felt a little rushed because of my reading schedule, and just like a hard month in general, just personally. So, but it was a good highlight of a really bad month. I had a really good reading month, even though my personal month was really bad. All 3 books that I read last month were like really amazing. So yeah, I think that's all I have for Goblet of Fire. Next I'm reading Order of the Phoenix, and I'm gonna try to not be too negative. It is my least favorite, but I do know there are some things, for example, Ginny's character kind of developing, that I do love about this book. So I'm gonna be kind of like watching out for some things and really doing a little bit better of a job of writing down my positives as they come to help me to kind of get through it. I should be starting Order of the Phoenix in a couple days. I'm almost done my book, one of my books today. So I think that's all Let me know in the comments what number this book is. I think it's a couple people's favorites. I think it might be my second or third favorite, maybe third. So really high up there. I really love this book so much. So yeah, I think that's all. Yeah, see you next time.